Now, can we get a little round of applause for our ISD board candidates? Very happy to have you all volunteer for our team.
Whether we agree with every position or we're going to get every vote, reality is that these people are here to serve our community, and we're greatly appreciative. So thank you so much. Without further ado, I want to go ahead and get into this. We're going to give each candidate 3 minutes to introduce themselves. You don't have to take all the time. We can bank some of that time. I know that it's going to add up over the night, so anytime you want to save is just fine with us. But we'll get started with 3 minutes and go down the line, starting with Daniel. You want to introduce yourself and tell us what you're about?
Hello, everybody. My name is Daniel Carroll. I am excited to be here as a school board candidate. Thank you for the Chamber for putting on this event. This is my first time doing this, so far so good. I look forward to answering any questions, and I look forward to hearing from all of these guys and for the next session too. The one thing I really have to say is I believe that every student deserves the best opportunities for the best education. Thank you.
Good evening, everyone. Again, I would like to also thank the Chamber, the district, and the Youth Advisory Committee for giving us this platform to speak to everyone out there and to connect with everyone. I'm honored to have the opportunity to run for the school board. My wife and I, live in the district. We have 2 kids who are both in high school, very active. From a professional perspective, I have 25 years of background essentially in corporate finance, focusing on corporate strategy and strategic planning. In addition to that, I've also served back when we lived in Leander ISD, served on a financial leadership committee within that district and have some experience with that as well. End of the day, just to kind of summarize, same as what he said, it's all about the students. I don't need to say anything more about that. Everything winds around that, and that's what we need to be focused on.
Hello, my name is Sarah Jane Cantwell. I'm a mother of 3. 2 of our children, one graduated from Lago Vista High School last year, and we have a sophomore that's here now. I am very well versed in the SPED community, which is a really big deal to me. One of our kiddos has autism, so I think that's a big deal to me to represent that. But that was a big reason that I wanted to run and kind of have my platform heard. So let me see, I have my little notes. I'm a community leader. I'm really excited that I've been able to volunteer for over 10 years in some wonderful organizations, including several in this district. I am a 2-time breast cancer survivor, been married for 23 years, and I'm very, very committed to serving this community as best that I can, and I would really love to, I don't know, I'm really excited to be here, sorry.
My name's Gerald Roque. I'd like to thank the Chamber for having this event tonight. I think it brings new ideas to the table. I've been in this community for 33 and a half years. I've served on the school board for 19 years, and I'd like to be reelected again to serve because I love this community and I think there's more to do. So thank you.
Hi, my name is Michelle Coronas. I'm a mother of 3 boys. One of them has graduated from Lago Vista ISD, and we also have a 6th grader and a 4th grader. So I think I bring a little bit of a perspective of younger kids, or not the perspective, the representation for the parents of younger kids. We've been in this community for 18 years. We've owned a business here for 18 years, been married for 19 years. And I just look forward to working with everyone and just trying to make us the best community and district that we can.
Thank you all so much for that. So we'll get into some questions here. And I'll say this a couple times tonight, but this is an introduction to the candidates. This isn't the final story. If you have other questions and concerns, we're going to have a link for you guys to be able to ask those and to reach out after the event. So just know that if you have any other questions or concerns, we'll make sure that they're addressed after the event here. So Anyway, without further ado, we can get on to the next question. Michelle, you have the mic down there. Do you mind if I start with you on that? Oh, you got a mic right there too. Everybody's got a mic. Okay. In that case, we'll keep going there with Daniel. First question is superintendent selection. What qualities in leadership experience do you believe are the most important in selecting a new superintendent, and how will you ensure they reflect the needs of LVISD?
What qualities and experience are important for a new superintendent, and how will you ensure they reflect the needs of Lago Vista ISD? I have 14 things, and I feel like if this person can check the boxes on all 14 things, then they're serving the needs of Lago Vista ISD. So here we go. Number 1, someone who understands kids, crucial. Number 2, integrity in their behavior and in their decision making. Number 3, accountability and setting clear standards. Number 4, communication is clear and authentic. Number 5, transparency and active listening. Number 6, creates a culture where teachers feel supported and heard. Number 7, empathetic and respectful to everyone. Number 8, ensures all voices are heard. Number 9, someone who builds and keeps trust with the teachers, the staff, and the parents. Number 10, someone with problem-solving skills to make informed and logical decisions. Number 11, someone with experience managing operations and finances. Number 12, somebody who collaborates and builds strong teams. Number 13, I'd like a visionary who can set long-term, realistic goals. And number 14, someone who's adaptable and someone who's resilient. Thank you.
Thank you, Daniel. Brian, and thank you for staying in the 2 minutes, too. For every 10 seconds that you go over, we're going to take a slice of pizza away from the students. So just let you know that that's up to you. It's your decision. Okay, what qualities and leadership experience do you believe are most important in selecting a new superintendent, Brian?
I'm not good with technology. Getting back to it, I think the superintendent should have a proven track record in student success, not only from an academic perspective, but also from a career and technical training, and as well as extracurricular activities. I think it's important to make sure we have a superintendent focusing on that we have well-rounded students when they graduate who will be successful no matter what they do, whether that's going to be a college track, a military track, or an entrepreneurship track. They must be able to inspire both the students and staff, build effective teams, and be a strong communicator. I think communication is key. Just as important, they need to be very collaborative. They're going to be able to collaborate not only with the school board, with administrators and the community. And 3 qualities that I think are especially important for them to be able to do will be around culture and team, right? Be able to drive high-performing teams through empowering them and having a value-based leadership mindset. Again, we'll come back to this as probably the most important thing. They need to be student-centric, keep the student experience and outcomes at the heart of every decision that is made. And then I think it's important to also have someone that's future-driven. Where we see technology and everything going today, they need to be able to leverage innovation and creativity to prepare our students to be ready to go into the world that's changing every day before us.
For a new superintendent, I think, for one, they're going to have big shoes to fill. Obviously, being a great business professional should be, that's on your resume. That's your education. That's where you come from. That's kind of your every moment of what your job is. But Lago Vista is a small community. It's a very special community, and I think having somebody that really understands the feel of the community and can really kind of assimilate to the way that we enjoy living and the way that we all kind of treat each other, I think that's really important. And just the human element, I think, is so important, and we lose that sometimes whenever everything is numbers and spreadsheets and data. So I really feel like being a people's person, a Lago Vista person, in addition to a great professional, is going to be very important.
Well, we're going through the process right now of looking for a new superintendent, and the first thing we're looking for is someone who's academically strong, who's looking to improve our academic standing in the community. We want a person that listens, We want a person who is financially strong, who knows how to balance a budget, how to work with others. We're looking for someone who is a team builder. We're looking for one who encompasses the community and wants to get out in the community and talk and listen to others and get their opinions and their advice and work towards making this community stronger. We do have big shoes to fill from Darren. Darren did a remarkable job, and he's going to stay on a little longer with us to help us, but this new superintendent has to do more than Darren did, and that's going to be difficult to do, but they're up to the task. So we look forward to working with the new superintendent.
Do you have me on? Okay. Since I get to go last, they get to say all the things I was going to say. In addition to what they've all said, even though we are a small community and we do have a special feel, we are growing like crazy. I looked at the numbers today, and year over year over year, we have had more student enrollment. So I think our new superintendent should have experience with being in a big school or with a growing school. I think that would probably be best, is if they know what it feels like to have the growing pains that we're going through. But yeah, team builder, balance a budget, that's very important. And an advocate for students, that's what I think is most important.
All right, thank you so much, guys. We are going to reverse skate now, and Michelle, I'll go ahead and get you to do this next one. And that's just for saying that, too, by the way.
Jeez.
Yeah, now you're first.
No, I have to go first.
Okay, so next question, roll of the board. What do you believe is the role of a school board member?
Oh, the role of a school board member. Hold on. I think that our role as a school board member is to come alongside with what the district has already set in place as their goals and to fulfill those goals. When we see something that needs to change, we should be adaptable and we should be willing to change, because times change, things change, everything can't stay the same all the time. We also have to be very budget-minded. Again, I just talked about budget again, sorry, I do accounting. So I think that's very important, and that we just keep the students and the teachers in the forefront of our mind with all of the decisions that we make.
Can you hear me? The role of the school board for supervising the superintendent and hiring him, number one. Number two, we are part of the tax setting. We set the tax through the superintendent. Number two, we let the community, we follow the community's advice in how to deal with our school district and what policies to put in place. We also are cheerleaders basically for our community and letting everybody know the good things that are going on within our community, and we will work together to bring our community together.
I think, technically it's the job of the school board to handle the superintendent's job, hire, and then also set the tax rate. But I think it's also really important for school board members to be available to the community, to really listen to the concerns. As a mom, I know that whenever I have a concern, I just really want to be heard. And I think it's the school board's obligation to be a big, big part of that and be available to listen. And then it's also important for a school board member to really work as a team and collaborate with the community and with each other to really push forward what the vision for the best interest of the entire school, the teachers, staff, everybody. But definitely just collaborating with the community, I think, is a huge role besides the official jobs of a school board.
I'll repeat a little bit of what was said, but maybe I'll say it in a slightly different way. I think the first point to note is that as a school board member, the role is to govern, not to manage. I think that's an important thing to note. As was mentioned, the key responsibilities obviously are approve the budget, approve the tax rate, hiring and evaluating the superintendent. as well as adopting policy. But with that, as others have said, the board, as a board member, you're also a representative in the community, right? So you need to make sure you're representing the community to ensure that it reflects, the policies and stuff reflect the values of the community. It's also about providing oversight and as well as supporting the superintendent as well as the staff. I think it's important for the board to be supportive. I may say this later, but it's all about culture, and we need to make sure everyone is, no pun intended, rowing in the same direction together, as kind of one family working together, because that's how we're going to get the best outcome. And at the end of the day, to sum all that up, it's the focus on what matters most, and what matters most is student success and the long-term health of the district.
Michelle, you're right. Going last, you just get to say what Brian just said. So, can you guys hear me? The role of the school board member is someone who represents the community's interests to make sure all students have access to the best education. A school board member needs to be impartial. A school board member needs to be able to separate the emotion. These guys just told us what the tasks are. Setting policy, hiring the superintendent, approving the budget, goal setting. How about holding the superintendent accountable? That's a really big one. And representing the community. Qualities, I'm gonna go back to my list of the 14 up top. Commitment to the students, always first. Integrity, collaboration, communication, knowledgeable about policies and the budget. Visionary, open-minded.
All right. Our next question here. What prior involvement with LVISD committees, events, or board meetings has prepared you for this role? Daniel?
Oh, I'm first?
Go back the other way.
If you guys, Nate, if you're keeping score, this is probably -1 for me here, because outside of watching these meetings on the YouTube channel, I really haven't been plugged into these board meetings. I feel like this is public information. I get the information by watching it online. I can pull up the documents. Anytime I have a question, I can go find that information. It's public information. I do want to say that I'm a little skeptical of this question, because attending a meeting and contributing to a meeting are two totally different things. I can't wrap my mind around how attending a meeting and volunteering for a school event prepares somebody for a school board role. I don't get that. I feel like my professional experience has really prepared me to be a good board member, one that will read the laws, one that does understand the laws, and one that will question the interpretation in the policies.
I guess to start to answer this question, you mentioned the YouTube part of it. One, I would like to thank the school board for streaming all of the board meetings on YouTube. I have taken advantage of that. So over the last 2 years, I think I've attended 3 or 4 board meetings in person. Every other one I have watched online, and appreciate for that. It's been helpful listening in those to stay informed on what's up with the budget process, what's going on with the deficit. I think over this last year, there was a lot of talk around the deficit and how, I think, hopefully I get these right, like HB2, HB6, SB12, and HB 1484, how those impact the budget. If people aren't paying attention to that, you really should get involved, because it's complex, and the decisions that are being made at that level definitely have an impact, not only on the school district, but more importantly, our kids. Beyond those meetings, I try and stay active in as well as student programs as well. For the last 2 years, I've been a judge at the district level for the DECA competition. I will be signing up again to do that as well, which is very rewarding. In addition to that, for this past year, I became for the first time a DECA professional member, which also benefits the school district as well. In addition to that, I'll give a quick shout out to the students live streaming this event from Viking Sports Network. I do try and volunteer with that as well. I've been able to volunteer for some of the home games and their live streams, as well as had the honor to build a production desk that they're using for their pregame shows, which, again, I'm a selfish plug. You guys should check it out. It's pretty cool stuff. And I guess to summarize all that, these experiences have given me, kind of a strong understanding of some of the district policies, kind of a deeper connection on, what students are getting involved in, what the community's doing, and learning some stuff from the staff as well.
I have been involved in school board meetings in person and watching online. I was a board member, the vice president for the Lago Vista ISD Education Foundation, where we raise money to give checks, grants to teachers for their classrooms. They tell us what the direct need is. I'm currently the leader of a local women's club here in Lago Vista, and we support a teacher that's trying to further education for their students. Let me see, I wrote my little notes. I was on the Booster Club board along with my husband Chad. We were both very involved in that. I was the unofficial team mom for the Valkyries for a couple of years. Our daughter that graduated last year was the captain. I try to volunteer on campus as much as I can whenever I'm able to kind of really get a feel for what's going on campus. I think that that's very important. I connect with the teachers and a lot of the staff, and it's really given me a really great insight as to what's truly going on in the moment and what could be fixed, and also what's going really well.
Well, I've been to a few board meetings throughout the years, and I've also served on the Education Foundation Committee, which is an excellent committee that gives back to our community. I've served on the Safety Committee, which I'm serving on currently right now, which engages in helping to make our schools a little safer, not a little safer, a lot safer. I've served in this community for over 33 years. I was a little dribblers coach. Do they still have little dribblers there? I'm not sure. So anyway, it was a fun time. I've served in church committees here in Lago Vista, and I think it's important that you do come to our meetings and get engaged in what we're doing there, because this is your town, this is your school district, and we want you there. We want your feedback. We want to know what you're thinking to make this school district better.
As far as my involvement in the community, we've been very involved with the Booster Club on the outskirts. It's very strange, but the year we moved here, we just jumped right in, and we were working in the concession stands back when we were at Sizemore Field, and we were working our butts off and having a great time. So we've worked closely with the Booster Club without actually being on the Booster Club. I've been room mom a couple times. I have helped out in the schools. So when my older son was here, it was a lot easier to help out in school. You just walked in and you got to help out. So this is a new situation, navigating how to best help out when there is so many new protocols in place. And I think the safety board probably really helps with that. I've watched a lot of board meetings online, but again, I don't know that qualifies for me to serve on board, because it is much different to serve on a board than to just watch what goes on. But I do understand how a board meeting runs. I understand how it should be handled. I understand the importance of agendas and minutes and all of those things.
Awesome. We're going to work back again from you, Michelle, back this way. So for our fourth question, what experience do you have with overseeing budgets, operations, or governance of an organization?
Again, I'm an accountant, so I'm very budget savvy. I actually do the accounting for our church, and if you ask any of them, they will tell you that I am like on them, like, you're over budget, watch your budget. We're business owners, so I do the operations, the back end operations. My husband does like the in-store operations. I do all of the back end office operations. So I hope that is enough qualifications.
Is it on? Yep. So again, I've been on a few financial meetings through the board, and have learned a lot through these meetings. We have had excellent financial advisors. I've also served in the community in our church as a bishop's warden. I've served on Hill Country Community Ministries as a president, helping budgets being made there. We ran a restaurant at one time. I wasn't too good at budgets then, but I learned and I've gotten better with it. But being on the school board has taught me a lot about balancing a budget and making sure we're doing the right things as a group to make sure we're taking care of our community's money.
Okay, let me see. Okay, the question, what experience? Okay, I've been the treasurer of a board before. Not my favorite role, but I can do it. I have spent the last 10 plus years in community service serving on boards of directors. I have held many roles on PTOs, PTAs, but some other ones that I've been a part of or am a part of still is Mother's Milk Bank at Austin. It's the largest donor milk bank in the world, and I've been the president of that for 2 years. I still serve on the board for that. Austin Women's Club, I was the president for that group that's been around for 95 years. Current president of a local women's club, like I've said. I've served exclusively on boards for a very long time now, and serving as president for several different organizations, I've had a lot of oversight with budgets that have been great and budgets that really needed a lot of help, and there's been a couple of examples where I've had to come in and kind of be the hard fist, but saved an organization that was really important to me. So I've had 10 plus years exclusively of oversight, governance, and management of boards.
All right, for those who know me, so like Michelle, I'm an accountant by nature in finance, so I'm sure this answer will be really dry to most people, but you know, my current day-to-day job, I'm the Vice President of Finance for the Americas for a large business unit, so I lead the development of the annual budget, not only the development, but making sure we meet it, as there's lots of pressure on that. As part of that process, it's working directly with our sales and operation leaders to make sure we track the progress, adjust strategy, make business decisions that line up with that. Sometimes it's not always in line with where you started, depending on circumstances that change. Not dissimilar to when you get, I guess, different House bills that pass that may derail a budget. You know, that combination of financial oversight and operational decision making and the teamwork that's involved, I think directly correlates to what you need to be able to do on the board. Outside of that corporate world, because everyone's like, oh great, that's just corporate stuff, right? So outside of that, I do serve as the treasurer on the Jonestown Water Supply Board, where I am the chair of the budget committee, as well as present the financials every month and help make decisions within that board. And in addition to that, I'm currently the treasurer and president of our neighborhood board, where I'm the chair of the finance committee there as well. So I've seen many different budgets, many different shapes, and how you manage those. Across all those roles, what I've learned that effective governance isn't just about managing the numbers. It's about setting direction, making informed decisions, and ensuring accountability to the community.
I am a native Texan. I have a Doctor of Pharmacy degree from the University of Texas. I'm a hospital pharmacist by trade. I spent a lot of years as a pharmacy director in hospitals. Then I was took over as CEO of one of those hospitals. So former CEO. I'm the current executive director of the Texas State Board of Pharmacy. So I know what accountability looks like. I manage that state agency. We have 107 FTEs. We have a $15 million annual budget. I know how to work with the board. And I really understand the importance of public trust.
All right, thank you so much. I think we have time for one bonus question here. So we got one more, and then we'll do some outros. So what do you see as the top challenges facing LVISD in the next 5 years, and how would you address them? Daniel?
Okay. The top challenges for LVISD in the next 5 years, I'm going to start with, because it was our number one question here, is getting that superintendent onboarded. Sorry. We need to get that superintendent onboarded, acclimated, and trained. As soon as he's up to speed and rowing in the same direction as the rest of the leadership, the better it is for everybody else. That's the first thing. Oh, these are all equal value, so there's no specific order. Number two, student academic excellence. That Texas accountability rating of a C, not good, not good. In that September 8th school board meeting where our leadership said, oh, we just haven't played the star game. That's concerning to me, seriously. It's time to trust the curriculum superintendent. Tina Posick has a good plan. She truly does. Now it's up to the principals to implement that plan and to keep those teachers accountable. To play whatever game we need to play that the state wants us to play so that we don't jeopardize appropriations and we don't jeopardize our kids' education, instruction. Number 3, smart growth. Somebody said it over here already. This place is growing. It's not, we moved here 18 years ago, and it was a retirement community. It was small. We were the youngest people on our street. Not anymore. We're kind of the oldest people now, but that's a different story. But we've been discovered. And with that growth comes some responsibility. And so strategic planning that really reflects what these kids are going to need is important. Physical space, class sizes, and structural programs, how are we going to pay for it with minimal tax increases? Those conversations need to be happening now. The last thing, or one of the most important things, security and safety. This is always going to be on my list of priorities because our kids need to feel safe. Our teachers need to feel safe all the time.
Great question on this, and I'm not going to go through a whole bunch of detailed ones because, again, I think it focuses around a couple of things. And the big one, you said, getting the test scores up, I think is huge. I think it's something that needs to be focused on. However, what I want to ensure that doesn't happen is that we get those scores up by teaching to a test. We need to make sure that we're teaching to drive academic growth, that the byproduct is they do well on a test. I want to, because no one wins if you're just going to teach to a test, because there's a lot of critical thinking, strategic mindset that gets lost if you do that. So I think that's going to be number one. The other main one, again, it's going to come to numbers, it's budget, right? Given the fact that student allotment has not increased since 2019, that's a problem. So how do we, like all the other things, I agree with what you said, are key, but you got to find a way of how you're going to fund it. So how do you maximize the most that you can get out of every dollar we spend? Some of it, that again is going to go back to innovation. How do we innovate? How do we keep up with times? How do we become more efficient? Because if you do that, you're going to then generate the dollars to do everything else. As they say, right or wrong, money makes the world go round. We got to figure that problem. That's going to be one of the top things to figure out. The other one that was mentioned is how do you manage growth and manage with that to keep facilities up and security. Those would be, I mean, there's a whole list here that I could go through, but those are the key things.
So future challenges are the accountability ratings, like we were discussing earlier. There's a lot that can still be done. I have a couple of ideas that I don't really want to give away right now, but we can do better as a district. Kids, again, I agree with Brian, we don't want to teach to any test, but we have to do better as a district. Our kids deserve better, we deserve better as a community. And then funding is always going to be a major problem. We've already seen that happen where we have to, teachers go, programs go because there's not enough state funding. I think as a community, as an entire group of people that care about children, we need to continue to advocate for increased student allotment or a basic allotment, which is the per student state funding. I think that if we can do better as a district, we can also promote more kids coming in. I love homeschooling. I think it's a great idea, but I think kids should be on campus, and the more students we have on campus, the more we get for students being in the seats. We need to put legislative pressure on the state and address unfunded mandates. We have to have a security guard on campus, different things like that, which I think are important, but we're not getting any extra money for it. So there's a lot of things that we can kind of delve into deeper details to really try to combat those problems, but making sure that we're accountable for the ratings and the funding. Those are going to be future problems that will continue until we find better solutions. And I'm willing to help find those solutions.
Well, I also believe that academic excellence is necessary in the school district, and that's why at this point when we're looking for a new superintendent, we're making sure that their strength is academic excellence. So we're looking at that. We're not satisfied with where we're at all, and we're continuing to make this school district better. I think what's also very, very important is school safety, and we've taken many, many steps to ensure our schools are safe, and we will continue to do so. I think that we need our parents to be more involved in talking with their legislators about the money that's being taken away from our community through the recapture program. We lost last year $4.5 million sent back to the state of Texas that we could have been using here in our own community. So that's something I'd like to see our community get together and talk to the state legislators and fix. I think that the strength of this community is its people, and the people, the families that are here, and how we are involved and helping each other and doing the right thing, and we look after each other. So those are the things I'd like to see done here in Lago Vista.
I agree with much of what was said. I won't beat the dead horse about the academic score. When we moved here, it was not that. I would like to see it go back up to what it was when we were here. I think growth is going to be a big issue in the next 5 years. That was touched on. I think something else that's going to be a big issue that I don't think anybody said yet is the advancement of technology. It's just getting more and more and more. And I think we just need to find a way to teach the kids how to properly use it, and make it the tool that it is, rather than trying to just brush it under the rug and be like, hey, don't use this on your things, because it's just going to keep growing and getting bigger. And in the next 5 years, I can't even imagine what is going to be available to them. So that's what I've got.
All right, sounds good. So I think what we're going to do now is we're going to do some quick closing statements. Daniel, if we want to start with you, let us know why we should vote for you, and however you want to close it up there.
I just want to, I don't know if I'm supposed to do this or not, but I agree, Michelle, that AI and the technology, it's coming. I have a quarterly, it's called the Pharmacy Congress. It's all the deans, the pharmacy school deans in Texas and the professional associations, and we meet. And it's a big deal in those professional schools. What are you guys doing about AI? And the pharmacy schools, they're doing exactly what you said. They're trying to teach the kids how to use it responsibly and use it as a tool, because it's going to be in the industry. It's going to be used in your pharmacy, in healthcare, and probably everywhere. So the kids that come out of here, there was a time when navigating the internet was a skill. And so things like that, using AI, is going to be a valuable skill, so I agree with you. My closing, 30-second closing is basically what y'all read up there. I'm here because I love this community. I want our kids to have the best education possible, and I want the teachers to feel valued and supported. And I want them to want to be here. I want them to want to stay in Lago Vista. We can do better than that C. Our kids deserve better than average, and I would be honored to have your vote. Thank you.
I guess to close here, the key theme for myself is, a good school district's not built by one person or one group, right? It takes an entire family, if you will, right? So I appreciate the We All Row, the AETT. It's going to take us as one family to make this happen. And my commitment is to celebrate what works well today in the district, but also build upon that so that every student has the opportunity to succeed, as I mentioned earlier. I believe the board's role is to listen, lead with integrity, and ensure that every decision, end of the day, has to support the students. Again, I'll go back to that. That's where it all ends. As well as supporting our teachers, supporting the administration as a community. And with that, I think we can continue to move forward and solve the challenges that are there. And to close, I want to thank everyone for showing out tonight, because this is what it takes to make a difference.
I just want to thank you all for being here and listening. I'm not very good at talking about myself. If I could bring my husband up, he would do much better at this for me. But to kind of recap, I've been in the community for a while. I'm very, very involved in the schools. I always have been with our kiddos. I have the availability to do that, and I'm very thankful. I've served on many, many boards. I know how to run a board. I know how to be a team player. And I really think that this is one of the highest callings you can have, is to be a school board member, to really represent the community and help do what's best in the interest of our children. I'm excited to hopefully be a champion for academic excellence and strong college, career, and technical pathways. I want to be an advocate for safe and supportive campuses where students can thrive. And I have a couple of ideas that I think could be really great for the entire community that would benefit our kids. And I'm always available if anybody has any other questions later. Thank you so much.
Well, I'm looking forward to continue to serve this community. Absolutely love this community. And one of my most favorite things about being able to serve on the school board is the graduation ceremonies. Many of these children that I've seen grow from kindergarten all the way through high school, and to see what they have accomplished in those years and how they've grown through their many stages is just phenomenal, and that can never be taken away from me, and I absolutely loved it, and I still have the fire inside to continue, and I know this place can be better and will do better, so we are going to do that, and with the help of the community. The strength of this school district is the community. It's parents, it's children, it's teachers, everybody. As we've said here, we all row, and we are going to get better through our success working together.
I would love to be on the school board just because, again, like everybody else here, I love this community. I grew up not far from here, and we had to drive by here to get into town. And I always said I wanted to live in Lago Vista, like always. And that was before there was anything built on 1431. Like I didn't even know it was here. And something drew me to this community. And now that we're here, and we've been here 18 years, and I just love it. I love that our kids have, gone through the school district. I love that they're all Vikings. And I want to serve my community. If you know my husband, he serves on everything he possibly can, and I think it's my turn. I think I should, take some reins. And this opportunity became available, and I thought, what better way to serve my community than to serve the students that I know so well, having kids in school. And so that's why I want to do this.
Well, thank you so much. Let's give them a little round of applause. Very thoughtful answers. All right, we're going to say have a great day. Feel free to go ahead and exit the left or right. We're going to check in again. Y'all stay right where you're at, though. We've got something very special that's developing here. It's been developing in the back. In fact, Allison's going to tell us a little bit about that.
Thank you, everyone. As part of getting involved with the kids, we thought it would be a fun add-on if we could have just some civic engagement opportunity for them and some babysitting opportunities so that you can attend this and have them, the student government class, watch your kids while you're here. So they've been putting a little something together in the back, so I'm going to hand this over, and they'll be presenting something for the next 10 minutes before we switch over to the city council.
Perfect. Thank you so much. Well, hello again. You're probably asking what we called all the kids to the side for. Well, we just did a youth civic event to educate the youth of Lago Vista and educate them about the voting process and what you guys are here to listen to the candidates for. And so now we will be doing a mock election with kids from various campuses that volunteered, and they'll be giving them questions and see how they would handle themselves in a real debate. First, from the intermediate campus, we have TJ. So if we could have all the candidates come sit down at the table. Thank you. All right.
Make sure it's on.
Hello, everybody.
All right. First, we have TJ running uncontested.
All right, TJ, are you ready for some questions?
Yes, sir.
All right, this is a tough one. So, TJ, what's your favorite book and why?
That's a hard one. I'm going to have to go with Goosebumps.
Ooh.
Well, because they're very scary, and there's also, well, they just entertain me.
Now that's a great answer. So TJ, what would you do if you won $1 million?
Well, I would spend it to help my family if they really needed it, and so they could live good lives.
Wow. And my next question for you, TJ, is pick one word to describe yourself and tell us why you picked that word.
I'm gonna have to go with nervous.
You're doing great. And your last question, TJ, is Why should we vote for you?
That's a good question. Why should you?
All right, give it up for TJ, y'all. And next up, we have our wonderful middle schoolers. Could y'all please introduce us to yourselves?
Hi, I'm Cora Larkin.
And hi, I'm Weldon Stockard.
Give it up for them, y'all. All right, so y'all's first question is, what is your favorite movie and what do you like about it?
My favorite movie is probably, it's a classic, but Titanic.
Okay.
I like how it's kind of realistic and it shows somewhat what it was like back then in the experience. I think it puts things into perspective, but I also like just how it's kind of like sweet in a way and how it kind of just takes you on like a wave of emotion.
Yeah, it's a tearjerker. And what about you?
If I had to pick my favorite movie, it would probably be Harry Potter because of the character development, and I just really love the whole series.
Great. And then, next up, who is your most and least favorite? What is your most and least favorite subject in school?
My favorite subject in school is probably either science or language arts. Because I'm a writer, so language arts explores my creativity and my imagination, and science tends to be somewhat logical, so it makes sense for me and I'm good at it. And my least favorite is probably history, because I'm not very good with dates and names, so I could tell you about it, but I couldn't tell you when, where, or who it happened to, so it makes it kind of hard.
My favorite subject would probably be history because I really, I'm a history buff and I really just love knowing like what happened back in the past and all of that stuff. And my least favorite one would probably have to be math because I'm not that great at it.
And then, what extracurricular activities or community groups are y'all involved in?
I'm in a lot of UILs. I'm in modern oratory, impromptu speaking, art UIL, one act, listening, and oral reading. And I also do a lot of sports. I'm in volleyball, track, cross country, and tennis. And I also I help out with a lot of things around the community as they come up, and I help out at my church. And I try to help out with small things like that because I think it helps me bond with the community and it makes it a little bit more enjoyable.
So in other words, she is very busy.
Yes.
I'm involved in NJHS for school and other clubs like that, and I really love helping the community and doing community service. I play sports. I do tennis, archery, basketball, and track because I really love all of them.
Yeah. And he is also very busy. And so lastly, guys, why should we vote for y'all?
You should vote for me because, like I said, I bond with the community a lot, and I hope I'm charismatic. So I think that I have a well-rounded opinion, and like I know what sort of goes on in the community, and I think I can base my opinions and my thoughts off of that to help me make a proper decision. And I also do a lot at school, so I know a lot of the different groups of students that go there and what they need and what they like. And so I think I'd be a good candidate for that because I am so involved.
I believe you should vote for me because I really love the community and all my friends. I know what they would want to do, and I really don't do what would be best for me. I'd love to do what's best for the community and kind of like not self-centered, but all around the community.
Amazing. Ladies and gentlemen, give it up for our middle schoolers. And now lastly, but not leastly, we have our one, our only high schoolers. Give it up for Jonah and Jesse, y'all. All right, so we'll start with Jonah. Jonah, who is your favorite teacher and why?
Ooh, that's really a tough one for me. I think the teacher that I've bonded the most just over my 4 years has been Coach Sanford. She's been super sweet to me and just always felt like I was able to reach out to her outside of school as well.
Perfect. And now Jesse?
I think that my favorite teacher overall has been Mrs. Roberts. I spend a lot of time just in her room, even when I'm not in her class. She's a nurse, so she does medical-based classes, but she's just someone I can talk to when I need advice.
And next up, Jonah, how do you personally make your community better?
Gosh, I just volunteer a lot. I go to North Lake Church, and I feel like there's a lot of opportunities there. Also help out with KLVB and a lot of other just volunteer opportunities. You know, anytime I can, I feel like I try to just, you know, help out the community.
All right, and Jesse, how do you make your community better?
I'm a PAL, so I do whatever volunteer services they give up for us to do, but I also am very environmental focused, so I always try and pick up whenever I can, whenever I'm outside, and just little things like that.
All right, and this is a tough one because this is a question that we have all been asking. If you could change one thing about Lago Vista, what would it be?
For me personally, I think there's one small thing. You know, I really love the community. I'm originally from Colorado. I just think it's just such a great group of people. However, for me, I live kind of just down, kind of more in the outskirts, and I think the road system is a little rough sometimes. You know, my truck takes a bit of a beating here and there. So if I were to change something, it'd be that.
All right, Jesse, and what would you change?
Mine is a bit similar, but I have a lot of family who lives right outside, and so they get water from like wells and stuff, and I think it would be very great if they could have better water pressure or just more access to utilities like that, since they don't usually get that.
Wow, okay. And lastly, y'all know what I'm gonna ask. Why should we vote for you?
I think personally, I'm just a very caring person, very much a people person. I'm, just very passionate about anyone I meet. Love talking to people, and I think it's just a good reason why.
I think you should vote for me because obviously I care about you all, but I'm also very youth focused because that's our future, and so I think it's very important to get good values and morals into our youth. That way when they take over eventually, even when we're gone, that we have set our future up for success.
Y'all give it up for our student candidates. They did amazing.
All right, and once y'all exit the auditorium, in the lobby we'll have a ballot with all of their names on it. If kids and parents alike could vote on their favorite candidate from each campus, that would be wonderful. All right, thank y'all so much. I'll hand it back over to Allison.
And thank you, everyone. And then also circle back in and come for our Lago Vista candidates. We will be starting in 5 minutes as we reset the stage, and our Lago Vista City Council candidates will be ready. So brief intermission.
Just 30 seconds. All right, everybody, thank you so much for being here. We are to the Lago Vista City Council portion of the evening. Let's start off with another round of applause for our candidates. Thank you so much for being here. We appreciate each and one of you. So again, you're going to have an opportunity to submit more questions after tonight to the chamber. We're going to be providing some links for that. So just know that this is an introduction and a broad overview of some subjects we thought were important based on the questions that did come in. So thank you again, everybody, for being here. There is going to be a timer. If you go over the timer, then you have to reduce a general fund budget item by 10% or something like that, I think. Something. There's going to be something like that happen. I don't know. But please be respectful of the time given. We're going to start off with intros. You each have 3 minutes to kind of tell us a little bit about you and what you're looking forward to here in the next coming term. So we'll start with Mr. Shane Somm, who's going to be our mayor.
Thank you. Thank you, everybody, for coming here. Good evening. I'm Shane Somm, currently city councilman in place 1, running for mayor, unopposed, but I still want you to come out and vote for me. I'm still going to be looking at how many numbers I don't get. For those of you who know my background, I spent 10 years working as a staffer in the Texas legislature. I was a chief of staff in the Texas House. I worked for Governor Abbott on economic development issues, and I was a senior advisor in the Senate. I currently do government affairs and some lobbying for a fantasy sports company, so my job takes me all around the country. I work with legislators everywhere, including here in Austin. Found that to be very useful as a city councilman. I'm able to go in the building and get meetings with folks and work pretty closely with them. I mainly talk to them about water issues, if you've paid attention to anything that I advocate for. And sometimes, luckily, it takes me to D.C. and I work with our congressmen. This last year, we went and visited the White House to talk to the White House about some of the water issues, not just in Lago, but across the region. And as I continue to think about what's going to go on here in the city in the next 2 years, the expansion of both our drinking water and wastewater plants is the big looming financial issues that we're facing, and the entire council is having to work on how we're going to do that. At the same time, I'm trying to keep property taxes at a level that isn't pricing people out of the city. Unfortunately, Travis County is not doing the same thing. As some of you know, that's another issue that I've been fighting, is how Travis County is taxing you and raising those taxes. I continue to fight and make them have to prove why they're doing it and how those services are coming to us. Another big issue that related to the water is I don't think it should only be funded by us. Your taxpayer dollars are already going to the state. They're already going to the feds, and we need to be out there fighting for that money to come back here to Lago. So we're going to continue to work with the Water Development Board to help us fund some of those projects. Thankfully, the council over the last 3 to 4 years has been applying for those funds. We've been moving up those ratings. I think we're ranked 22nd or 23rd now on the wastewater project. So we're going to continue to advocate pretty hard for that. And then otherwise, I've just, you can talk to my fiance, Heather. I'm just very dedicated to being a public servant. It's just who I am. If I wasn't here, I would be down in the Capitol. I'd be at Travis County anyways, testifying on things. So it's just so important to me for people to get involved in their community. And that's what I'm here to do. And so I ask all of you, keep me informed, continue to tell me what you're seeing around the city, tell us what is most important, because at the end of the day, we're here to support you, and that's what I want to do for the next 2 years. So thank you.
I'm Jess Hall. I'm running for Lago Vista City Council Place 1, and thank you for coming to this event. I have my family here, and they've been invaluable support for me, and they're one of the reasons that I'm running, to ensure that we protect the natural beauty, the small town charm, and the quality of life that make Lago Vista unique and that brought me here. Lago Vista is a wonderful place to live, and as a homeowner, parent, and grandparent, I want to keep our city great. I've always loved connecting with people, and when issues in our neighborhood came to light. I live out in Tessera. And as I learned about so many other issues and challenges facing Lago Vista, I realized this was a great opportunity to serve the community and make a positive impact. I've had more than 3 decades of experience as a CEO and senior manager of large nonprofits, growing those organizations, improving lives, and building stronger communities. And that expertise is important to our local government. My experience leading organizations, along with a master's degree in city management and planning, provide a deep understanding of how to lead Lago Vista through smart, sustainable growth without sacrificing what we love about our city. I love supporting small business. That's important to us as individuals as well as to the city's tax base. And the increase that we've all seen has been wonderful, and I know that we have enjoyed that, and that needs to be encouraged to continue. I have 3 overarching city goals, and smart growth, community first, and transparency and accountability. And I think I'll have a chance to talk a little bit more about those with some of the questions. But smart growth, we currently have around 3,000 lots in Lago Vista approved for new homes. When that's filled, that will almost double the population. And it takes several years, something I know well, for planning and implementation of the water, sewer treatment, and other infrastructure to support that. So we must ensure that new development is done carefully and efficiently managed and doesn't overwhelm our city infrastructure, water, sewer, and other city services that we depend on. Community first is important. We need a responsive government investing in public safety, streets, drainage, parks, and recreation, especially for young families. And as one example, our residents have been asking for shade at Sunset Park. The City Advisory Committee had recommended that 3 years ago, yet it still has not been done, and monies have been available to do that, and although it's been repeatedly brought up, and I will ensure that happens. Transparency and accountability.
That is time.
But yes, that's that's important, and I'm honored I will be honored to serve on the City Council as your representative.
So my name is David Von Olerking. I am not here to play politician. I did wear the suit. But I have probably been spending the better part of the last year at every city council meeting. I've grown pretty passionate about everything that's going on here. I'm not a career politician. I don't have a vast background in city affairs. I have been advisor for even Rick Perry, but that's more on a background in sustainability technologies, not the greenwashed kinds. I feel like my entire reason of being here is the support that I've gotten from current council during the plights that we've experienced, and it's opened my eyes to a lot of the system errors that the town has, or just a lack of systems, workflows, whatnot. So I'm not here to necessarily look the part perfect or be the typical politician, but I am here to install systems, workflows, accountability, and in general, what I do for work. I have a construction company and I have a consulting firm. I think it's really important to have a council that has a broad spectrum of qualities that it can bring. It is important to be able to politely and productively, constructively argue. I am scared of a slate. I don't want to see that happen, so I do want to make sure that there's somebody on council who will represent the working class, and I don't need everyone's vote. I'm not here to convince you otherwise. All of the candidates here are actually fantastic. The current council is fantastic. But what we do need to do is make sure that the city is held to a higher standard. Anyone that takes a position of authority or is in any way in charge of someone else's life needs to hold themselves to higher standards. You have to be able to admit when you're wrong. You have to be able to accept when you make a mistake, and you have to own it with pride. Any mistakes we have shouldn't just be shoved under the table. You know, when we have a problem that reoccurs, we should talk about it, and then be very proud when we resolve that problem. It's an opportunity to better ourselves, and that's what I'm here for. I'm not going to be the most politically correct. I look the way I do, but I absolutely will be the rough and tumble guy to call everything for what it is, and I'll continue to show up, regardless of if I get the seat or not. I'm still going to be there at City Council every time. I've seen a lot of you there, and I'll continue to do so. As tempting as it is to get that budget cut, I'm going to cut my time here. Oh, we got one.
Is this working? My name's Robert Durbin. I love Lago Vista. We moved here in 2022 from Houston. I didn't know I was going to love it as much as I did, but once my schedule allowed me to slow down a little bit, I got involved with the city and doing volunteer work for them. And I have been doing volunteer work for the city for 15 years now, at least. I can't remember whether I started in 2009 or 2010, sorry. But, and I have been on the Board of Adjustment, and I've been the chairman of the Board of Adjustment. I've been on the building, back then it was just called the Building Committee, and I've been the chairman of the Building Committee. And in 2015, I was appointed to be a associate judge here in Lago Vista, along with two other fine gentlemen. And at that time, the municipal judge, the presiding judge, was elected, and I was fortunate enough that those two gentlemen elected me to be the presiding judge. And then during my second term, I was reappointed. During my second term, I was also elected to be the presiding judge with a different associate judge working there. I was very proud of the work we did. We had over 100 years of legal experience, and we were working for free. Can't get a better deal than that. But after my second term, I took maybe 6 months off, and then I got back on to, I believe it was the Board of Adjustment again, and did that for a while, and then I decided to run for City Council, and lost my first bid, and I won the next two. But in any case, that's my City Council resume, which isn't too bad. But I've always advanced transparency to the nth degree. I don't meet with developers at all in private, ever. I just don't do it because it isn't transparent. Private meetings are dangerous in that respect. Plus, we're not supposed to vote on anything we don't hear in council or read in our packet. So that's where I get my information. If I need more information, I'll question them when they come in to make their presentation. But and I do hold myself accountable. When I do make a mistake, I'll admit it, and I'll own it. And I do make them. And I promise you, that's the one promise I can make. I'll make another one at some point in time. But in any case, I hope to represent the city of Lago Vista for 2 more years. These will be the last 2 years for me. I'm going to impose a...
That's time.
Thank you.
Yep, there's a lot of budget cuts right there.
Term limits on myself.
Hello. Many of you don't know me, but my name is Amanda Chavarria. I moved to the Lago Vista back in 2022 after a little bit of long-term dating and long-distance dating to my wonderful fiance, Matt Thomas. He's here tonight with his parents and my wonderful daughter as well. I've been coming to the Hill Country my entire life. I'm a lifelong Texan. Canyon Lake was kind of like where we hung out, and as well as Marble Falls. It was a no-brainer when I decided to combine households. It was just something that we felt was best for us at the time, and it has proven to be the best decision. Definitely would not go back and changing it. The school district here is amazing in comparison to where I hail from, and that is Galveston, Texas. If y'all have any idea what that's like, it's a little tourist town, little bitty island. It used to be 10, 12,000, but now it's like 60,000 in people year round. I've found Lago Vista to be a very welcoming place, for the most part. I want to ensure that it remains that way for our families and our generations to come. I believe in a lot of responsible decision making, listening to residents and their decisions and their collaboration to help make our city better. I want to focus on practical solutions that improve our community for all who live and work here. A lot of people have come at me wanting to know about my experience. Well, I may not look it, but I'm almost 50, and I have quite a bit of experience. I went to Texas A&M, was a political science major, and worked for Merrill Lynch in accounting for a number of years before I decided to become a nurse. When I went back into nursing, I decided to do informatics and epidemiology, system improvement, and basically evidence-based practice. I worked with Epic computer systems, and then once I got into that, I really got into research and found a lot of gaps in our funding. I worked for UTMB in Galveston and needed to come to Austin quite frequently to explain to the legislator why we needed indigent care funds. We decided that the best route for me to go was to start doing grants. So we started doing grants, and I did pilot programs, and I became basically an implementation specialist for our grant programs at UTMB. I was able to start one grant for $250,000, but we wound up saving over $6 million over the course of 3 years. It was called the HIV Initiative. It was a testing program that we implemented through the emergency room.
That's
not really relevant. I'll get to talk more. Thanks.
All right. Hi, everyone. I'm Karen Van Ness, and I'm running for City Council, Place 5. We've lived here since 2008. We've raised our son here. He attended Lago Vista schools, kindergarten through high school, graduated in 2023. During that time, our years here, I've served the city in various ways. I was a member and then for a couple years chair of the city's Park and Recreation Advisory Board. I've been on the board of directors of the Lago Vista Property Owners Association for the past 7 years. I served as treasurer and vice president there. I'm rolling off that board in December. Time for new people to come on. And more recently, I've been a part of the advisory committee into the city's comprehensive planning that we've been going through, which is working on the overall strategic plan for the city and also on the future land use map. So anyways, I've really appreciated my work with the city. I also had a 30-year corporate career. I worked in financial services, technology, and consulting. And yes, I'm a recovering consultant, so not presenting with a slide deck is weird to me, but it's okay. Then I retired from that career and then started a second career in a completely different area. So I'm also now a small business owner in Lago Vista, and I work with clients here in Lago and also down in Austin. Lago Vista is a very special place, and not because of what's built here, but really because of the people here and because of our natural beauty. It really makes it home. So I'm stepping forward to serve on City Council because I want to protect our small town character and our natural spaces, support our local businesses and our community connections, and also plan responsibly for our future that reflects our values. I want to ensure that as we grow, we're planning with purpose. And to me, this means that we engage in careful planning and management of growth to increase economic opportunity, but also ensure that our city maintains and continues to enhance our quality of life. It means we retain our green space and the natural beauty of our city, as well as promote tourism and recreational opportunities for residents of all ages, from youth all the way to senior citizens. It means working to increase our resilience and the sustainability of our water resources and our infrastructure. And our resilience also means focusing better on disaster preparedness and planning to help mitigate the risk of wildfires and flooding, now as we've seen more recently. Growth is inevitable. I know those of us who lived here for a long time kind of like, about the growth. It's going to happen, and growth can be good, but it doesn't have to come at the cost of who we are. Together, I think we can make sure that any progress enhances our community. I think recent city council, city staff, and our leaders who serve on our boards and commissions have actually done a really good job in recent years in putting together better procedures and updating our ordinances or adding new ordinances and requirements to help ensure we're making better decisions related to development growth and even beginning to make substantial improvements to our infrastructure. We need to continue to build on these efforts. And I'm ready to serve as a city council member to help ensure that we plan wisely and protect what makes our city so special. So
it's time.
Oh, thank you. I humbly ask for your vote and also welcome your input as well. So feel free to reach out to me directly or through my Facebook campaign page. Thank you.
All right. All right, that's a great start. Wonderful set of candidates here. We're very blessed to have all of you here tonight. We're going to get into some questions now, and we'll start with you, Shane, and just go down the line. Everybody's going to have up to 3 minutes. You don't have to use the whole 3 minutes. You can bank a little time, for everybody in the audience, but definitely we'll get going here with it. Anyway. Shane, what experience through service on city boards, committees, or other community roles has prepared you to serve on city council or as mayor? If you have not served in these roles, what unique qualifications or perspectives would you bring?
Thank you. I served on EDAC before I was on council. I thought EDAC was a great preparation because I don't think there's many things more important than helping our small businesses. These are people who live in this community that want to help the community and provide the services that everybody here wants. It's your restaurants, it's your handyman, it's the people who pay more taxes than the rest of us and continue to keep the city the way that we like it. So EDAC was a great experience. And obviously I spoke before, my time working in the state legislature was super helpful. I don't think many people maybe know, but when you're a chief of staff for a state representative, your number one job is to keep them in touch with the cities that they cover. And so a part of my job was always talking to city managers, county judges, mayors, council members, and I learned a lot. The regions that I usually covered were South Texas and the areas that were hit by Hurricane Harvey. And so I really learned a lot during the Hurricane Harvey process of everything that it meant to serve your community. I mean, there were mayors coming to our office in tears because they felt like they couldn't do enough to help their citizens, and I started to see just how personal these jobs were. And when I started as chief of staff, I actually didn't know that a lot of cities, these are free positions, and so I thought, wow, to put yourself through all that means you must really love your community, and I really aspired to do that someday and find some place that I thought was home. 5 years ago, that was in the city of Austin, and I did not like it, and I came out here to Lago where I found a great community and wanted to jump in immediately and use all those skill sets that I learned in the Capitol to help out as much as I could. And then actually I got to serve on EDAC with Norma Owen, who's now a council member. And so, I've got to see so much of what people have to do just to even serve on the committees. It's very time consuming. City council is just as much, and being mayor will be even more so, as I know Mayor Sullivan could tell me. So I think that those have all helped me out, and even my current role right now, like I said, in a government affairs position, constantly in rooms with our state representatives, our state senators. I'm hearing what other communities are going through and how they're addressing problems. I'm real big on not reinventing the wheel. I think that every city in the state is trying to solve the same issues, and we don't all need to be doing it in different ways. And so getting out there and listening to them and trying to bring those back here, I think is the best thing that I can do. And I look forward to doing that for the next 2 years. So thank you.
I may have mentioned earlier that I have a master's in city management and planning, which has provided a unique perspective and understanding of some of the challenges that cities face. I currently serve on the Board of Adjustment with the city. Most of my experience in working in a more in-depth manner with cities is through leading large organizations that were serving the community and had multiple facilities throughout the area, and meeting all the zoning and requirements for those. I've been with a organization led one in Washington, D.C., in the Maryland area. We established 2 new centers, and that was after doing a needs assessment, determining that there were no adult day centers anywhere in the state, and working with the county and a older adults commission of that county to secure funding, find a location, do all the zoning issues. Some of those were in residential areas, and setting those up and meeting all the standards that are very complex in establishing those kinds of facilities and doing that. So I have a lot of experience in working with cities and securing fundings and being a partner with cities, and that's what I hope to bring to the City Council, an understanding of that and the need to work with the residents and new businesses who want to come in and make sure that that process is as smooth as possible. And I'll give you some time.
So I mentioned I do construction and consulting. I used to travel the country speaking, giving lectures on new technologies, system integration. I still do a bit of that, but now I've learned to take money for it. And the main thing that I do not have in common with the majority of the people on the table with me is current roles in the city in an official manner. I have spent the last year at every meeting, a council meeting, not all the boards. I've spent several meetings with several different boards, and it's really important to me that, again, business background, business mindset, we are essentially, Lago Vista is a business that spends your money, and I think it really is a responsibility, again, for anyone that controls anyone else's life in any way, to have very clear systems in place. And that is like my bread and butter. That's what I do all day long. I like finding where there's deficiencies or where there's improvements to be had. There should be no question of what someone's job is at city staff. There should be no question of how to get a permit or apply for things at the town. You shouldn't be confused when, well, I know I spend money, I just don't know where it's going. I just hit a pothole and blew out my tire. There should be a very simple system where we can hire someone off of Craigslist, and day one, they know exactly what their jobs, roles, and responsibilities are. Preferably, we stop hiring people off of Craigslist and we hire people with qualifications. And I do think the town is getting there. It's taken a minute. And I would like to keep that momentum going. There's also a problem, a solution in the way that we manage the majority of interactions between citizens and staff and council. There's a big separation. I was lucky enough to find the support of current council members when we had issues, but in my campaigning and talking to other people, there's a large disconnect still. It feels like there's a world of difference between, a council member, they do that stuff, and, well, when I go to town hall, and I don't know why my water got cut off or why it tastes like chlorine, or there's a really bad breakdown in communication. And again, that's my bread and butter. If there's one thing that I want to focus on, it's workflows and bringing my skill set and my background into a table that has great skills, but maybe they need a little bit of context from a different walk of life.
Okay. First of all, that clock goes really fast. But second of all, we can get some of the, I was lucky enough to get some of this out of the way in my opening statement. You can tell who didn't get the questions in advance. But the fact that I've worked on all of those different commissions and boards it has been critical. It taught me how the city worked. It taught me who was responsible for what. It taught me who is to provide what information to those boards and commissions and councils to get the things done that the city does. Lately we've had a development services, let's call it an issue, but we haven't had a development services director of note anyway since about a year and a half ago, almost a year and a half ago. And we had one in there, but we he's gone this quickly. So, you know, you can see who provides the information to those committees so that those committees can operate and do the things that they're supposed to do. When they work well and they work smoothly, it helps a lot because a lot of them are advisory committees. They pass on information up to council that the council can then operate on without each and every council member, you know, having to dig into such a granular level as to, you know, why this person didn't get to build their outbuilding or their 7,000-foot garage or whatever it is. And so you'll learn a tremendous amount. And I don't know how you get around that. Being judge was also full of practical experience because not only did I work with the police department, and back then we did our magistrations locally, which meant, you know, I went over and I gave the rights to every guy they arrested, whether it was a drunk driver or a capital murderer or whoever. It didn't make any difference. We magistrated them all. And, but we also had traffic court, and you saw a lot of the same people arrested for alcohol abuse and public intoxication and things like that. A lot of them were clearly problem children, as I would call them, but a lot of them had real issues that they were dealing with, and you had to have a great deal of compassion to work with them, and to try to construct the best resolution to their problem that would not only help them but help the city. Thank you.
Okay, I spoke briefly about my education on the intro, but from my background, when I come from Galveston, I was active in the Hurricane Ike and Hurricane Harvey recovery programs down there. I was on the committees. I helped small businesses because I was a small business owner get back up and running by utilizing federal funding and state funding with community block grants. I also helped new businesses that were wanting to come into the area by helping them formulate business plans so they could qualify for the low interest rates that the Small Business Administration was offering at the time. I've partnered with the Downtown Economic Partnership in Galveston as a small business owner. I also helped champion the Galveston trees. We lost a lot of heritage oaks down there, and we were able to commission artists to come in and chop them down to about 5-6 feet, and then also basically turn them into wonderful, wonderful sculptures. And I'm proud to say that I had a hand in that. It's a big tourist attraction down there, and each one of those has a very lively story to tell. I also helped champion the Chamber of Commerce Lemonade Day program down in Galveston. It's a nationwide thing that I'm actually talking with the local chamber here. Hopefully, we'll get something together with the local businesses to bring our youth out to learn about how to run a business and how to get sponsors and how to be fiscally responsible and deal with shareholders and investors. Locally, here, I've worked with the North Shore Cleanup. I was a zone lead for my neighborhood in Tessera with the help of David Olderking over here. Yeah, he was an amazing assistant for that day. We picked up a lot of trash. I'm an active member of the Texas Water Coalition, a member of the Lago Vista PTO, Keep Lago Vista Beautiful, and the Lago Vista Friends of the Library. I've been a small business owner for over a decade. Most of my stuff now is related to short-term rentals in Galveston, which me and my sister kind of run down there on the Galveston Gulf Coast. Nothing here locally, so don't hate on me. No short-term rentals here. But I have a lot of good ideas about that, by the way. I understand the the perspectives of both residents, small business owners, and I think I bring a new, unique perspective to that. So even though I don't have a history in politics or institutional knowledge, I believe I'm uniquely qualified, and I will be easily, I could ease into this role. I do have a lot to learn, not afraid to say that, but I think I've done a good job so far. Thank you.
All right, thank you. Well, as I mentioned, I've served on the Parks and Rec Advisory Committee and also on, more recently, on the Comprehensive Planning Advisory Committee. And during those roles, in addition to the work, we often were asked to do analyses for and then present to City Council on the output of our work. So I've been part of a number of different presentations and discussions at City Council over the years. As part of the LVPOA board, we've worked really hard over the past 7 years to improve our relationship with the city, and we actually collaborate quite a bit with the city, especially on some of the big events that leverage some of the POA parks. So that's been really fun to see that relationship grow and get better. And as I mentioned, I'm also a small business owner here, so I've dealt with some of the same challenges, anywhere from getting permits or getting, you know, your sign on your office space permitted and approved, all the way to trying to reach out to people and let them know about your business, given that we don't have a local newspaper, so there's no real reliable way of advertising other than social media. Having lived here for so long, too, I feel like I'm pretty knowledgeable, really more from a resident's point of view, about some of the key issues and challenges facing the city, as well as some of the opportunities that we see. So I've got kind of that institutional knowledge or memory, or in some cases maybe PTSD, going back a number of years. Some of the good decisions that have been made and progress that has been made, and then some of the not so good decisions that have been made that I feel have set the city back, and we're still dealing with some of those repercussions today. I also mentioned I had a long corporate career, so I've served in various leadership roles, all the way from managing small teams to running businesses and divisions. I've been part of a couple startups, did big global projects all over the world. So I know how to run a P&L, I know how to manage people, I know how to look at processes and procedures to see if we can gain any efficiencies. In some cases leveraging technology, in some cases just looking at the way we're working together. And so I feel like I've got a lot of capabilities and experience that I can bring to bear and think I can make a useful contribution serving on City Council.
All right, thank you so much. On to our next question. It's about nonprofit support. We'll get going on this side again with Shane. How would you work with local nonprofits and businesses to improve communications about their events while balancing the city's need for reasonable signage regulations?
I can't help but feel like that came up because of recent conversations before council with the hot funds. I definitely was the council member that read the state law and said, hey, we can't just be handing out money to nonprofits just because they do a good thing in the community. I think it's important to support our nonprofits. I don't necessarily believe that taxpayer funds are always what should be going towards it. But we can obviously support in other ways, as you're mentioning. I mean, our marketing department is really good at what they do, and if there's a great community event, we can certainly be pushing that out there. You know, we are a political subdivision of the state. The state tells local government, these are the things that you're supposed to work on, and these are the things that you don't. And so you have to look at some of these great nonprofits in town and realize that isn't necessarily our job and our duty to do that, especially with your taxpayer dollars. But you can still be out there as individual council members and the mayor and supporting these organizations. I think that these community events that a lot of our nonprofits put on are the things that make people really feel like this is home, and we want to make sure we see more and more of those. I know Karen mentioned the events that we do with the POA, and the chamber helps with a lot of those. I think that there could be some improvement on those events as well. You know, I've talked a lot the last month or two about Lago Fest. I think Lago Fest has been a great event, but it's very similar to Brews and Balloons, and I want to see some more family-oriented events that go on here in the community. I think that Lago Fest could possibly involve more of a carnival type of vibe and bring in rides and things that you know, the children can go to and our families can go to. I know we have face painting and other things there, but that doesn't necessarily interest our students, our high school students. So I could see events like that really growing, and you bring your nonprofits into those events, and what once was a one-day event at Lago Fest could become a 2 or 3 day event, like the festival that you see in Marble Falls, that people come from all over the region and attend that. And those are tourism dollars that end up coming back to the community. So you're helping your tourism dollars, you're helping your families, and you're helping nonprofits. I think working as partners is the best way to move forward. And again,
That's
I'm all for my
time.
time. Thank you.
As a city, we have certain limitations or restrictions on what we can fund, and I think the city could help nonprofits in understanding what those are and how they might meet those. We, in terms of communicating about their events, the city website has lists those, and hopefully nonprofits or whomever is putting on an event will notify the city, and that's on the landing page of the city website. We could also look at community boards. Not everybody's on the internet, on Facebook, and we could have a community board where nonprofits could post signage about their event. So I know that's part of the question, which is making, meeting the signage requirements and regulations. Events are important to the community, as Shane was saying. They bring in people outside the community that spend their dollars here, support the businesses here, support with their sales tax, support our local government, and they're great fun for our community. So we need to support those and make, hopefully we'll see more of that. So because of the importance to the city as well as to the community that we serve. So yes, we need to make that, to promote those and to make that as easy as possible so that the nonprofits can do their job. And I certainly have a soft spot for that since that was much of my career, but also for the businesses that depend on promotion to be successful.
So when thinking prosperity and growth of a business or nonprofit, government's not the first word that comes to mind. I would generally lend my ear to an expert on that field before hiring someone who isn't a professional in that field. So rather than having the city of Lago Vista go out and haphazardly try to help nonprofits spend tax dollars to do so, and I'm glad that's off the table, we have a Chamber of Commerce that has recently refreshed. They're doing great. You should go visit them if you're a nonprofit or business in the metaverse or real life. There isn't really a reason not to leverage them. And as a community, we should leverage our nonprofit organizations and anyone in the private sector. They're generally going to do whatever they're doing because they're passionate about it, and because they're passionate, they're going to do it a lot better than anyone at this table is going to do, unless it's our field. So the best way that I think we can help our nonprofits is giving, again, clear resources. Here's how you should go to the Chamber of Commerce. Maybe we can talk about our advertising. Billboards and me, I don't love them, but there's definitely ways to improve and leverage each other. And I don't think leveraging each other means relying on someone who's not an expert at something to take over and take the lead. And I definitely don't think it is spend someone else's money to solve a problem that we don't know anything about.
I have a soft spot for nonprofits as well. My sister worked for World Wildlife Fund and another nonprofit called IFAS that I don't really know what it did. It promoted elections in countries that didn't seem to ever have elections, but nonetheless, it was a nonprofit. So, and my sister worked there, so I like them. But and I was really disappointed to hear that the law pretty much forbade us to give a grant to various nonprofits around town. We'd been doing it for years. We did it wrong. but now we know we're trying to do it right, and we want to. We'd like to do that. The merging from the old to the new as easy as possible, but for local nonprofits, I have to say that it's going to hurt. It's going to hurt them a lot, and so I would encourage everyone here to pick a nonprofit or two or three that you can find yourself attracted to, and see what you can do to help them out. See what you can, because they're going to be short. They're going to be short money this year, and so you know, we can't spend somebody's money who doesn't care about a particular subject on that subject. It just doesn't make sense either. So I would encourage, and I would help and hope that anybody would try to find a local nonprofit that they can that they want to promote, and go promote it and work for them. Thank you.
While nonprofits play a vital role in our great city, a lot of people are involved in them, but I was actually very dismayed to find out that we were actually giving grants to these nonprofits. Knew this was highly illegal, and I believe that the city should actually self-report that. Now, other than that, I believe that signage is a big problem for nonprofits. The scrolling sign on Loman Ford is hardly enough to get the word out. And of course, what we call bandit signs now are going to be pulled up. There's been a new law that was enacted September 1 that is going to prevent pretty much any and all signage that's not politically related, whether that be in easements or even areas of public city use. So unless it's on your private property, they are not going to allow that. That's a problem. I have a soft part with nonprofits. I'm very active with a few, and one way around this is I think City Council can make a way to qualify these nonprofits and show them ways that they could meet these qualifications with hot tax. And just saying you don't qualify is not good enough. Now, if you actually put out the legal language and what is actually required, meaning if you show that you have increased sales tax revenue across the board, can pull Brookshire Brothers sales reports weekend over weekend trend, if you can prove that the gas usage in the neighborhood was used at the local gas station, that is increase in revenue. If you can increase STRs, you can say this weekend that we did this event last year brought in this amount, but the weekend before that or the year before that, it didn't bring any. That is proof of heads and beds. That is something that City Council has been about.
Thanks. Yeah, well, everyone's made some great points, so I don't have a lot to add, but one thought, and I don't know if this would work, but we already have a couple of entities who could potentially help our not-for-profits, right, in our chamber and in our Economic Development Board. I know with economic development, a big important job for them is to go out and identify grant funding and even apply for it. So I'm wondering if some collaboration between the chamber and ECB could be useful to these not-for-profits to go out and look for relevant grants that they could apply for and get some grant money coming in. Just a thought there to leverage some of the tools that we already have. You know, I agree, you know, with not-for-profits, especially with the signage restrictions now, it's harder than ever to get the word out. So I don't really have a clear answer for that. But I think if, as Amanda said, if we can help maybe identify, is there some qualification for these hot funds amongst some of the not-for-profits, and then work with them to help them apply and get the 501c3 designation that they need, and then be able to fulfill the reporting requirements as well, then that would be, I think, very useful because they're such an important part of our community, and that's part of the thing that makes Lago so special.
All right, our next question has to do with long-term fiscal health. Shane, looking 5 to 10 years ahead in your crystal ball, how would you address the city's financial stability while funding essential services, capital projects, and future infrastructure needs.
Well, I think I talked about a little bit earlier. The biggest financial hurdles for us coming up are the expansion of both our drinking water and our wastewater plants. Anybody that just watched the budget discussion knows that this is a huge concern that all of council is aware of. And right now, if we were to keep spending the way that we were spending and pulling from some of our utility accounts, by 2030, we might be in a tough situation. But that's assuming that we don't see any boom in growth. That's assuming that we don't see any increase in tourism. That's assuming that we don't see any increase in sales tax, and I don't believe that's going to happen. And the other side of that is as I spoke about before, this is our second year applying to the or third year applying to the Water Development Board for the wastewater project. We're going to get that money. They do not let you move up that list and then just drop you off the list somewhere, right? We're 22nd, you get to 20, you get money for it. So I think the wastewater is going to see some funding. I got Congressman McCall's office to put in $5 million for community project funding for us through the Appropriations Committee. I think that's still alive, and even if we didn't get it this year, we're still going to apply next year and the year after. I think we have a good shot at that. I've been growing great relationships with our state representative and our state senator. When the legislature comes back in 2027, water is still going to be a big issue. I feel pretty confident that we're still going to be able to go out there and fight for funds there. So I think by leveraging the tax dollars that you're already paying to the state and to the feds and bringing them back to Lago, that's going to go a great way to help us. Along the way, I want to make sure that what we're doing at City Hall is efficient. I don't think that I've talked to many people when I've been block walking that they think there are many city services outside what our first responders do excel. And that means I hear a lot of complaints about the permitting process. I hear complaints about code enforcement. And I think until we tighten up those things and we make those services really move smoothly and make sure that they're moving efficiently, then we'll really know about how our budget is. I think this past budget cycle, we did a really good job of improving. We're working with Texas State to get even better at that. And as we continue to improve the budgeting process, I think you'll see even more savings there.
Well, I just have to add to that because all of that is, I think, perfectly on target. I mentioned earlier that without any approval of new developments, that we have the capacity to grow and will grow and double our population in the next few years. And the challenge there is, of course, that you can't wait for that to happen before you do the planning and building out the facilities. And that also means that challenges the city because the revenues that those new homes will provide, those new developments will provide, is not there yet. So it is a challenge. We have to do the careful planning. We have to get state funds where those are available. And at the same time, we've got an aging infrastructure. And we're working on repairs right now on facilities. And that has to continue. So even without new facilities, we have to maintain the facilities that we've got. So as we manage that and do the planning, we're going to get proposals that may not make a lot of sense in terms of what we need now and what we can afford. And so again, that's a process the City Council has to really look at, make sure that when we get a proposal, we're not getting the Cadillac version of that, but we're getting what we need to take care of things now and to steadily progress in the growth in our services and the additional services and infrastructure that we will need. So those are big things. We have to manage our with capital improvement projects and manage the funds that we have available for those. And the City Council is critical in making sure all of that happens, working with the city staff to be sure that the planning is in place and that they're taking care of existing needs.
So I'd say this ties back to leveraging our community and our own skill sets. Let our community excel in what their skills are. If we are going to have the conversation about fiscal responsibility, we should probably get some people on staff who are fiscally educated. Ideally, we won't have to roll out our budget months and months after the fact. Shane has Congress on lock. I am so happy that he is taking that seat and he can take that responsibility. He has great skills. He has the environment to really leverage what he has. Our job is probably going to be as the community to ensure that we know exactly what we want Lago Vista actually to be. If we just have a vague idea of, yeah, we're a town and let's do a growth, and I think that having more money would be good, that means nothing. We can't do anything with that. We can just throw random numbers at a budget, and it kind of doesn't get anywhere. We have good subcommittees, and even the POA board has gotten an awesome wish list and budget, but none of that matters if we don't know what we are as a town. We have to be very clear on what our goal is. Do we want to be known as, the town that had problems in the past with golf courses, or do we want to be known for a town because we're the best at XYZ? If you don't want to, all of this is assuming that you don't want just higher property taxes or a bunch of more houses. You're going to have to drive revenue in through tourism and economic growth. And personally, the way to do that is just if we have a clear path forwards, maybe our code enforcers should get certified. Maybe we should have a little bit more clarity on what we're doing. If we can't drive business here because we have something to come visit, then we can't take money from outside cities, keep it here while they go back home.
We've got some very costly CIP projects going on now, and we will have more in the future. And I sure wish that about 5, 6, 7 years ago, the city had taken out some bonds because money was practically free back then. I know Kevin was pushing for it, but it didn't happen. And but that would have been the time, the best time to do it, the most opportune time to do it. But through lack of foresight, it did not happen. What we have learned going through this budget process, and what I've really learned this time, was some of the way to describe it, basically, and that is, and it brought back memories from when I lived in Florida, driving through a swamp when you're on a road and there's swamp on both sides. And as long as we drive the bus properly, we'll be okay. Which I'm not sure who said that on council this last time, but that really hit home to me. We could still screw it up. We are okay, but it could still get screwed up, and we could financially find ourselves in the ditch if we're not careful. So I think it's really important that we have good, smart people driving the bus. And I'm very encouraged with Shane being mayor. He's done an amazing job as councilman, and he's done duties way above and beyond what a councilman normally does. So please give him the credit for that.
That's time.
I hope to be around to help drive the bus or change a flag if necessary.
Lago Vista's long-term physical health is a foundation of everything we need in a community: safe roads, reliable water system, and sustainable growth. Our current council member, Norma Owen, actually has utilized a wonderful tool that shows our budgeting projections using basically real-time data. It shows a compelling trajectory towards extinguishing all of our reserves in about 5 years. Now, of course, we do have mechanisms in place and can pull levers, and I've heard that word around and call out all the stops. But one thing I can guarantee is that funding is not guaranteed. I know that we can look forward and hope and pray and cross our fingers, but the reality is you can only count on what you currently have unless you are guaranteed something in the future. And these things are not guaranteed. I don't want to sound alarmist, like I said, but we need to find alternate funding mechanisms and potentially put off some infrastructure improvements if we can't get our spending under control. Norma's tool definitely deserves some extra attention. There's, like I said, there's economic variables that are continuously changing. It's not always just about balancing the budget. It's making sure that every decision that we are doing as a city strengthens the city, protects the quality of life for the residents, now and for generations to come. I'm committed to helping Lago Vista grow responsibly, thrive economically, and remain a safe and vibrant community, but also keeping an eye on our purse strings.
Great. Well, I think everyone's made some great comments. You know, I feel like the past several years, City Council and city staff have worked diligently to rein in our budget. I think they've budgeted appropriately, they've kept our city taxes from increasing, and we actually have a very healthy reserve. And we're beginning to see improvement on some of the infrastructure, right? Roads, water treatment, and so forth. But as everyone said, we have a lot of work to do and some substantial investments to make. Some things are online now, and other things need to go as quickly as possible into the planning process so that they come online in time, anticipating the growth that's coming our way. So one of the first things we need to do is really finalize and pull the trigger on planning and building out the wastewater treatment. There's been some concern and consternation on the very high estimates that were given by the consultant that the city used, and city council and staff have been working to better rationalize those numbers and come in with numbers that seem more realistic given the projected growth and current capacity. So I think there's a bit of a sigh of relief with that, but we still got to get moving on the planning for that process, and I know city council are working on that now. I think we also have room for additional bond issues. You always have to be careful when it comes to taking out debt. But the city's in good shape. We have a great credit rating. So we have some opportunity for bond issues on some of these larger investments, especially some of the older bond issues the city took out begin to be retired. And then I know some council members, including Shane, have been looking at grant opportunities as well. And I think if we can get a more systematic process around that beyond just city council members, but again, getting our economic development board really doing a systematic process around identifying grants that could help the city, that would be really important. I also want us to think about the revenue side of things. So as we think about ways to attract visitors and tourism into Lago, in my mind, we've got a great opportunity around ecotourism. As an example, we're adjacent to Balcones Canyonlands, right? And they get like 300,000 plus visitors a year. And I'm sure more than half of those are driving through Lago. So what can we do on the revenue side to get more people spending their money here as well? That'll help support us.
Thank you so much. All right, we're going to do this next question. It's only going to be a minute, so it'll be a little quicker. And Karen, maybe we'll start on your side this time. Come on back. So this is about transparency. What steps would you take to increase transparency and make city finances easier for citizens to understand?
Great. Well, I'd say, you know, I think transparency has improved quite a bit, I can say, from earlier years. All the city council, commission, committee meetings are available online, and if you can't make it in real time, you can watch them asynchronously when it's more convenient for you. And I love the fact that they chapterize, right? They're marking what different topics are now, so you can skip ahead to the ones you're really interested in. So I think it makes it a lot more convenient to stay abreast of what's happening. I would admit that the budget process, if you're not in the weeds on it, can be very opaque and hard to understand. You know, I think the budget and CIP process, I'm not sure the CIP as it's done now is really the most effective tool for helping manage longer term type capital planning. So in my mind, I would recommend, number one, probably do a bit of a tutorial for all of us residents on the budget, process itself, on the budget, how it's set up. And even some of the things that we've learned from Norma around kind of long-term planning and what typically happens with cities as they're growing. She's done a lot of research on that. Also, I think setting up a dashboard, right, that helps us understand the budget, key aspects of the budget, and how we're performing against that budget would be super helpful both for city staff and council and all of us residents. So.
Okay, I guess it's my turn. I actually very much agree. So one thing I do like is that something that I hope does get to continue is that Paul Roberts has what he calls his round table. I love this feature. It goes over the the agenda, it goes through the packet, shows deficiencies. He'll pick apart, where, things are missing or maybe need to be tabled or brought back. I also think that we need to utilize our chamber and maybe get some accountants in here that would be willing to do a workshop with our community. I think the biggest problem most people think about when they see budget is Excel spreadsheets. Most people don't know how to read that. They can barely balance their checkbook or look through their own bank statement and wondering, why this $500 Macy's bill came in. So if there's a breakdown and an explanation, I think people would be more inclined to pay attention and be more willing to work with their council members when it comes to budgeting. Right now, I know there's a big fear factor.
Yeah, this is one area that has really improved in terms of transparency. I mean, generally the budget is entirely online. I believe basically that practically everything's online. Last time I think I heard basically the check register's online. You can look and see what's going on with your money. That's not a problem, and the understanding it is, if that's what the issue is, come to one of us, befriend a city council member, or or get your 15-year-old to make pie charts out of all those Excel sheets. They know how to do it. But you're right. There are ways that we can make it look a little bit more transparent, and I don't have any problem with that, and I would encourage the city to do it.
I'd say transparency is not just posting numbers. They have to be easy to understand, and there has to be a level of clarity. Again, someone off Craigslist can understand it when they walk into the room. Infographics and executive summaries are a really invaluable tool. If we're currently posting things on the website, a lot of people just don't know to look there, or you open it up and you get 300 pages of I'm not going to look at that. So, that's low-hanging fruit. It's really easy to pop out that kind of data. But also, if you're a leader, a public figure, an authority, you need to be comfortable with the fact that transparency is a bare minimum. I mean, you lose a lot of your privacy, and you need to be okay with that. You need to be okay with owning your mistakes and then explaining what we're doing better. Those are the things that I feel like make people think we're not transparent enough, and there's no reason not to leverage that. We should be proud of our improvements.
Transparency is one of the three major overarching goals that I think is incredibly important. And part of being transparent is not just what the city is doing, but why. And so it's not good enough to just simply say, okay, we're going to vote on a particular thing, resolution or whatever, and without explaining what that means and what the consequences of that are. With regard to city finances, it's not good enough just to put out a very complex budget and let people try to figure it out. But we really need kind of a Cliff Notes version of that identifies where the major budget variances are, any new projects, any thing that's going to be different than just the routine operation of the city, and why that's important. And I think that would go a long ways to help citizens better understand the finances and the budget of the city and what's being done. So again, some transparency also means helping people understand the consequences and why things are being done.
Thank you. Yeah, I think we're seeing a lot of improvement in the transparency side. At the end of the day, the transparency component falls at our feet as elected officials, right? It's not rocket science what we do up here. Most of you, everybody in here is qualified to do this, but we're the ones who raised our hand, said we would do this, so it's our job to make sure that we're representing you and then we're telling you exactly what we're doing. And that's doing things like, I do my notes after all the council meetings. I know Paul does his roundtable. Folks up here do different posts or meet people. So I think it's up to council to continue to do that and continue to try to find creative things. One thing I'm glad that council agreed to was the Texas State University partnership. Texas State is looking through our chart of accounts to make it more readable, and then after that, we're going to work with them on how to make it easier to display to y'all. And I think with what Council Member Durbin said on the open checkbook, I think we still have room to grow there. I think I would like to see it get to a point, and Mayor Tidwell had mentioned this before too, where you should be able to go on there and look up everything we're spending money on, and then be able to put that into that department where you're seeing the expenses.
All right, thank you so much. We've got one more question before we go into closing statements. So, Shane, we'll get going with you again. This is about tourism. What strategies would you pursue to attract visitors and support tourism-related businesses in Lago Vista?
Well, first, I'll give kudos to Councilman Paul Roberts. I think he's talked a lot about finding better ways to market our community and find some things that, like Karen spoke about, that are naturally things that are common here, like the Balcones Park. And people come here all the time for that. I think we continue to work with them. I think we have our community events I mentioned earlier. I think since we already do one fest that's about drinking and having fun and listening to music, the other one should maybe be a multi-day event that brings people to Lago for more than just one day. I think continuing to leverage the chamber and working on the things that you guys are doing to bring folks here. And I think even thinking regionally, we could be talking more with Jonestown and Point Venture, and even I know Marble Falls is further away, but we can find things that maybe we all work on together to pull people out here. Recently some of us went over to Lakeway for a water meeting, and while we were there, I was thinking, there's so many similarities between us. We're all on this lake, and we all have this beautiful resource that really brings people here. Maybe there's something we could do to bring more people from across the state over here. I think it's just about being creative, see what other communities are doing and try to replicate what they're doing. Sometimes it does take investing money like marketing, like Councilman Roberts brings up. And sometimes it's just thinking, of something new that we haven't done before. I think it's an overused quote, but, insanity is doing the same thing again and again and expecting a different result. While we maybe have had some successes with other things to bring people to town, if they haven't really created a ton of new revenue and a ton of new people coming here, it's time to think of something new. And I kind of think about backstage, I was meeting with the Youth Advisory Committee, and I really want to spend these 2 years thinking about how council can come to the school as well and get these students involved. You'd be really surprised at what creative ideas they come up with, and think, like a bunch of us didn't think of that, but they did. And so getting more opinions, especially from our youth, I think are going to help us come up with more creative ways that bring people to this community because they see this town different than we do.
Tourism is something that can benefit all of us, and having those kinds of unique things and that attract tourists is going to be beneficial to all of us because we will enjoy those too. So that's really important, but as is the case with most things, people don't find us and not going to find us in any quantities without some promotion. So I think we do need an active promotion program. I know you get different kinds of communications, internet and emails and otherwise from other cities that are promoting the special things that people can come and do in their city. And we have lots of great things in this city that we can promote. So that needs to be done. This also ties back to kind of question number 4, which is developing businesses, things for people to do, things that would attract people to events that will attract people here. And so all of those are important to be doing, and there are some businesses that just are good attractions for tourists as well as great things that we need here. So whether it be a McDonald's or whatever that people who are traveling would enjoy, whether it be a putt-putt golf course or other kinds of fun things to do, we need to be working actively to attract those kinds of businesses and help them to be successful.
I mentioned this earlier, don't know when, but the idea of who are we as Lago Vista. If we can find something to double down on and just own, be the absolute best at it, it really doesn't matter what it is, we just have to agree on it. the most respectable police force, a ski lift with a scenic view, some local private company comes in and does something fantastic. We have to be a reason to come visit, but also position it in a way that we get the benefit of tourism, where our town keeps the money when people visit, and then Austin keeps their problems because they go back home and sleep at night. We have a lot of different avenues. Again, I kind of harped on this. We have a much more functional Chamber of Commerce now. We have EDAC, all of these things. As a community member, there's a lot of entrepreneurs here in Lago Vista. The median population here are people who have done their own things or lead executive level jobs. There's a huge number of entrepreneurs we have here, yet it kind of seems difficult to run a business currently. And that these are very solvable problems, and it can not only benefit our own community members, but if we embrace tourism, that is not having to embrace entire new developments. We can get our money from retail, and we can maintain some semblance of this lakeside small community vibe while it's there. Growth is coming, people have discovered us. Now it's a matter of, do we want the benefits of people discovering us or just all of the downsides? And that's the conversation we have to have.
We have a couple of pretty good advantages when it comes to tourism. We have a golf course that's improving. We had a few rough years there, and but it's coming along. And from what I understand, our staff at the golf course is doing an amazing job in bringing it back. So that's one area. The other big thing we got an airport, folks, and that airport can be used, A, in combination with the golf course, B, in combination with Lago Fest. Fly people. Why aren't people flying in for Lago Fest? Why aren't they flying in for the balloon thing? Why don't they fly in for all these events? There's several things that the airport can bring in. First of all, it's a hub to get people in here. It's a hub to get tourists in here. They need a place to stay. That'd be nice. But they even if they camped out, I know one fellow up at the airport is building a B&B at the end of his hangar, or an apartment to use as a B&B at the end of his hangar. I think that's a fantastic idea. We need to get, but that airport can be a huge, huge plus in terms of our tourism dollars and bringing people to Lago Vista. We need to use it and figure out a way to use it better than we are now.
I come from a wonderful city that utilized their artists. We had a art walk. I know that Lago has wonderful performing arts groups and scenes, and I would like to see something like that implemented quarterly. I know we could start it out small, but it would actually draw quite a bit of a crowd, I do believe. Something else that I was a part of was what we called the Restaurant Week. It was an annual week where we celebrated the restaurants in our community. The way that we got people involved in that, and we brought in quite a few, is by doing a treasure hunt, or basically having everyone go and get their little card snipped at every single restaurant, even if they just went in for a drink or a dessert. A lot of this led to overnight stays, which was incredibly important for hot tax. We also need to really promote and push what we, like Durbin said, the golf course. We could put on golf tournaments once the grass comes back in a little bit greener and brighter. We also have a wonderful archery establishment here that could bring in weekend-long and sometimes even week-long competitions. Small programs like Lemonade Day do bring in quite a few people. Grandparents come in, aunts, uncles come in, and then once they're here, they spend money. They stay at the STRs and they enjoy themselves. These mechanisms, they don't only generate revenue, but they also build community pride, and I think that's really important for Lago. It should be on the map as a vibrant, welcoming place to live, work, and visit. Hopefully just visit and they go back home, like many say. But with the right planning and support, tourism can help fund city services, support our small businesses, and make our city stronger. Thank you.
Great. Yeah, I love all these ideas. I'll go back to my ecotourism, probably because our family, just about every year we go on a camping, hiking trip. You know, our proximity to Balcones, obvious advantage there, and we could do more with, I think. You know, we could do fun things like Golden Cheek Warbler Festival or Monarch Butterfly Festival or pick your critter or bird, right? Kind of more themed things like that. And not everyone knows it, but we've got a pretty extensive social trail system in Lago that's been developed over the years, and we could literally connect trails from the lake all the way up into Balcones. I think with a small amount of city money and some volunteer work, and this has been discussed before, we could build out or clean up some of those social trails and make portions of them accessible, create trailhead signs, so attracting more people to come and stay and hike, visit the lake, visit Balcones, etc. The chamber I know is working on, as Shane mentioned, taking more of a North Shore approach to branding. We have our events now in Lago and Point Venture and Jonestown, but maybe branding more around the North Shore and doing more events collaboratively across our community. So I think there's a lot of promise there. And then lastly, I agree with Judge Durbin on the airport. You know, obviously, I didn't know much about the airport until recent months, but it really is a tremendous asset for the city. And it's my understanding that for every dollar of investment the city makes into some of the needed runway work that needs to be done, we get $100 back in tech stock grants. So to me, $100 on the dollar sounds pretty enticing. So I think we should look at that more carefully. The airport helps bring in people with money to visit here and spend money here, and also could potentially become a viable way of commuting as well. If you want to fly to Austin Bergstrom instead of driving, or you want to fly up to Dallas. So I think that we definitely need to look at the airport and do what we can to help leverage that as much as possible.
Awesome. All right. Well, thank you so much. That's going to conclude our specific questions of the evening. I'll go ahead and say before we get into closing statements, which I'm going to get started with you, Karen, here in just a second to work back again. I know that we couldn't ask all the questions that everybody wanted to ask tonight. We all have a lot invested in our community. There's a lot of concerns we all have. So just stay in touch with the chamber. We're going to be putting out some more messaging in the next week. We want to accept some more questions to send to the candidates so that they can address those as they come up. So with that, Karen, if you want to go ahead and get started on your closing statement.
Great. All right. Well, I'll keep it short. I think I've already talked about why I'm running and what I think my qualifications are. But I really want to thank Paul Roberts, our current city council member. He served for 2 terms in place 5. When he let me know he was not running for re-election, he really encouraged me to run. And I had to think about it a little bit, but I decided yes. I know I have big footsteps to fill because Paul has done a tremendous job for the city. And he and I are very aligned in terms of our concern about growth and development, wanting to be intelligent about it and make good decisions about it while still retaining what's so special and unique about Lago Vista. So thank you, Paul. I'm thanking you now. I may not be thanking you after I've been on city council for a while, but thank you for your service. Anyways, I'm running unopposed, so I still would very much appreciate your considering checking my ballot box on your ballot when you do vote. I do want to earn everyone's vote. I've been talking to a ton of people, some people I've known, some people I've heard of, and new people too, and it's just been a wonderful experience getting different ideas and perspectives from people. And the one thing that really comes home to me is how much people love this place. Whether you've lived here for a long time or you just moved in a year ago, it's something very special about Lago Vista. So I'll work very hard as your city council member to do the best possible job for our city, our residents, our businesses, and also to help keep what's unique and special about our community. So thank you very much. I appreciate it.
I'm used to karaoke and just passing the mic, so I almost took hers. All right. I want to thank everyone for being here tonight and caring about the future of Lago Vista. Your turnout is what's really important, and I know many people couldn't attend, and hopefully they'll get to see it on YouTube. This election is about ensuring that the city is prepared for what's next while looking back at the past and learning from it. For better or worse, we have a great foundation. A shaky one, but it's great. And I believe that with some work, we can get the right people in and continue to build on it. I believe in the responsibility, owning mistakes, and using that towards planning, transparency, and financial accountability. We've all talked about that tonight, and I'm sure you'll be listening for more. But more importantly, I believe in you, the people of Lago Vista, the people that make this their home, the people that make it their community, the people that come out and have block parties and communicate and speak their mind. I promise I'll continue to be accessible. I'll listen, because the best decisions come from you and working collaboratively. On Election Day, I ask for your vote so that we can build a stronger and more sustainable Lago. Works for all of us today and for generations to come. I know my little 8-year-old over there is depending on all of us. Thank you.
Well, if you can't tell, after 15 years of volunteer work, I love Lago. Everybody out here I consider a friend or a neighbor. I would like to keep serving you. If I have not done enough to earn your vote, please let me know what I can do going forward to earn your vote, or also let me know exactly what it is you have any concerns about in terms of the city going forward. You can reach, I'm very approachable. You can reach me by email. You can reach me by telephone. You see me walking through Lowe's, stop me and talk to me. As you can tell, I'm a lawyer. I don't like to shut up. So I'll talk to you, and I'll talk to you about anything. Whether it has to do with the city or not. But I would like to keep serving you. As I said, I would like to serve my last 2 years of public service. I would like to be in the city council. And I'm asking for your vote in November, and I would like nothing more but to thank you all for listening and attending tonight. It's not easy. And you came out on a warm night, and in any case, I hope we've made it worthwhile. Thank you very much.
My ending message will probably be short. It's kind of a request. Anyone who's voting, that's not your only opportunity to govern the government. You have a voice. Call up council members. Go to your local meetings, talk on Facebook, whatever it is, you should be the one governing your local government. Corruption is pervasive. You have to be lethal to corruption. You have to do what it takes to make sure you don't let any of the past issues Lago has suffered through, you can't let those back in. You don't want a slate. You don't want one neighborhood running everything. You don't want to repeat the same mistakes. So if you want a representative who's not scared to go down to town hall, raise a fuss, have a louder than necessary conversation, I am probably your guy. If you're looking for someone who's more focused on looking the part, the political correctness, the calm, I mean, honestly, I'm probably not it, and I'm not going to try to sway you otherwise. I am specifically here for Lago Vista, the residents who need to be heard and have in the past felt an incapability of getting results for their problems, or feeling ignored, or feeling like somebody actually has to step in and do something. I have removed, not solely on my own, again, I have to endlessly thank current council. We've had great people, but I've definitely been more than helpful in removing some of the prior problem children and cutting some of the tumors, and I'm going to continue to do that whether I win this seat or not. It's just a matter of, do you want me on a more official capability to call out city staff, city representatives, myself. Do you want someone who will unapologetically do that? I might be your guy.
The success I've had in the past has been because I've had great staff, and I've helped them, and they've helped me to accomplish a lot in the community and build our organizations and be successful. And that's going to be true for our city council. We've got city staff that we need to support our city manager and help those staff to be successful, to have hopefully high standards for the people that are being hired, and give them an opportunity to do their jobs and support that. This is a very diverse community. We've got different needs in different parts of the community, and we're going to be successful if we work together to identify how as a community we move forward, what our vision is for the future and how we get there. And so collaborations is again a big piece of what I've done in the past, what's helped me to be successful. So it's collaborations within our community, collaborations between communities and among communities that are around us, collaborations with the businesses that operate here, and working together in partnership with those to achieve our mutual goals. And so overall, that's what I have been about. That's what I have seen successful with organizations, with businesses, with cities, and that's what I will support.
I just want to start by thanking everybody for coming out here. It really makes our jobs easier for more involved that the citizens are. And I want to thank everybody who raised their hand up here to run for office. I mean, that's what keeps democracy going in our country. And you're not going to get as many thank yous as you will get some Facebook criticism, so thank you all. You know, I was in Austin today, and I have a lot of friends that still live there. I work there, and, you know, there's very few of them that tell me that Austin's better today than it was 10 years ago, and now that they're facing a bajillion% tax increase, they don't think it's going to be better in 10 years. But Lago Vista does have that. A lot of people I speak to here love this town. A lot of people in this state are jealous when they find out where I live. And so I see nothing but optimism in the next couple years here in Lago Vista. The lake's a little fuller. We have some businesses really anchoring themselves here, doing a great job. I continue to support them. And the students here are so bright. I take a group of students to the Capitol every couple, a couple groups every year, and the questions they ask are so well informed. They are so smart. They are so engaged, and the future is super bright here because of them. And so I'm just excited for the opportunity to serve you as mayor. I will continue to fight just as hard as I did when I was a councilman. You see me in the news, you see me in the Statesman. I do that because it's a lot harder for the state and the feds to say no to us when they fall in love with us and they see everything that we have. So I look forward to continuing to work with this council. And that's the positive. You know, there are hard days ahead of us. I think City Hall needs a lot of improvement right now, and I think that's where this council is going to spend a lot of time. We really need to be putting systems in place that outlive the people that are working them. You know, currently you see staff leave and then all of a sudden entire departments fall apart. We can't have that anymore. You deserve to have better, and you're going to have that. And so we're going to work with this council, and we're going to work as a team. We're not going to spend our time on politicking. We're going to spend our time improving the services that you deserve. And we're going to continue to be available to you, and I'm going to do everything I can to serve you and make you proud of Lago Vista. So thank you.
All right, let's keep the applause going for all the candidates. Thank you so much. We really appreciate all the thoughtful responses. Also want to take a couple quick seconds to say a few other thank yous. As board president of the chamber, I want to also thank Allison and Heather for their tireless work every day. They're doing so much for our community. Y'all have no idea. We had an amazing committee from all sides of the political spectrum that helped to discuss how this evening would go. We're learning as we go a little bit. We're going to keep improving. So very thankful to them. Thankful for the students. They have run all the sound, the streaming, everything for us tonight. Did an incredible job. They took over for when people were paid in the past. They came in and they did it. And they did it. So anyway, and thank you to everybody that showed up. And we'll be watching this. We appreciate you being attentive, and we hope you're safe as you travel back to where you're going. Thank you very much.